Hey guys, how's it going? It's Superior. Welcome to Routing 101. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to path efficiently when playing Eternal Return, so you could further optimize your gameplay and group up with your team faster in the early game. This guide will be mostly towards newer players, but there could be a tip or two that might even help some of the veterans. The first thing I'll be covering are loot distributions. What is a loot distribution, you ask? Good question. Each zone on the map has 4 different loot distributions with 5 boxes each containing a set amount of loot which guarantees a certain amount of each item. For example, in Alley, the 5 boxes looted per distribution, if not looted by anyone else, will always guarantee 2 razors, 1 needle, 1 glass bead, 1 twin blade, 2 bike helmets, 2 bracelets, 1 running shoes, 2 scissors, 2 crosses, 2 rubbers, 2 lighters, 1 bow, 2 gemstones, 2 glue, 1 garlic, 1 whiskey, 1 shirt, and 1 windbreaker. The reason why this is put into the game is to reduce RNG when routing and to make it more convenient for the player, as the boxes in each distribution are relatively close to each other. Each zone has its own set amount of items in each loot distribution, so if you want to take a closer look at which items you can find where, you can find the information on the wiki. But now that you have a basic understanding of what a loot distribution is, you want to apply that knowledge on when you're loading into the game. So the first thing you need to know is your route and where you want to path. So for my sewer build, I start in school and then I want to path into fire station and then pond. This is very important information to know, as it will determine how you loot your first couple of boxes when you spawn in. So you spawn into the game. The first box you should be looting in your loot distribution is always the farthest box away from where you need to path. So for me, since I need to path the fire station, I would loot this box first and then path towards fire station, so I don't need to walk back and forth. Also, when you spawn in, your first distribution will glow blue, so make sure you loot all those boxes. So here's an example. Since my next zone I need to go to isn't adjacent to me, I'm going to path towards the teleporter. And always make sure you path towards the closest teleporter. In most cases, there's only going to be one teleporter you could really path to. But in some examples, like in Temple here, if I do get like the bottom spawn, I'm able to path towards like the stream teleporter instead. So I'm going to ask you a question. You spawn in here and you know your next zone is Chapel. Which box do you loot first? Is it A, B, C, or D? I'll give you 5 seconds to answer, so take your time. Now, if you said A and saw the optimal pathing like this, you would be correct if there was no one occupying the top loot distribution. When spawning into the game, you can see everyone on the minimap, and since there's no one above us, we could actually just walk over and steal a loot distribution that's closer to the way we need to path. Because when you do spawn into the game, you do get some extra movement speed, but only do this if you know there's no one else in the zone that's able to also kind of walk over and take the loot distribution, as the last thing you want is looting with someone else. So it's actually a trick question, and it's none of them. When crafting your item, your leg slot should always take priority, as it gives you initial movement speed, which lets you route faster. When routing, try to craft when you open boxes or after teleporting, as you'll have a second or two of downtime, so just press your quick craft hotkey, as this will save you a lot of time when you route. Also, make sure you're using your movement abilities when they're off cooldown when you're routing, and try to craft when they're on cooldown, as after you're done crafting, they could come back up and then you could just use it to get some more distance. When killing animals on your route, make sure you can kill them in a timely manner, as you could also use your abilities, you could craft, and then you can use them again to try to save some time. If you need leather on your route, please do not try killing a boar or a dog unless you have a majority of your items, as you don't want to be wasting 5 to 10 seconds. Instead, try to look for easier mobs to kill, like bats or chickens. When taking speed gates, you can gain some extra distance before opening your box, as this could shave off 1 or 2 seconds of your route. And when you're routing, every second counts. One thing to know is when you are looting, sometimes you won't hit your items. It is best to not overstay too long unless you're missing more than 1 item. If you're missing 1 item, it's time to cut your losses and go to your next zone and just pay the extra 30 credits. And yeah, that's all the basics in routing. I hope you guys learned something and are able to use what you learned here on the island. I'm planning to make this a series, so if you do want to be notified on my next addition to this one-on-one series, I'm thinking about doing one on team fighting. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.